The complete truth is, once you understand how the Instagram algorithm works and how to use it, your content will be pushed out to people that will actually be interested in your content, instead of it falling on deaf ears or no ears at all. And all that time and energy that you spent making that content wouldn't have been a complete waste of time and energy. The word algorithm honestly has always stressed me out. It sounds like this mysterious code that only a few can decipher, and once they do unlock that code, they'll have this infinite and magical growth on Instagram. If that's what the algorithm feels like to you, a mysterious piece of code, then you're in the right place. Because in this video, I'm going to explain properly, not a wishy-washy explanation, but a good and proper breakdown on how the Instagram algorithm actually works and how to use it correctly to grow your account much faster than you are now. Just like I have done for my clients and myself over and over again. If you're new here, my name is Nyla. I'm a top-rated plus social media marketer on Upwork with a 100% job success score. If you're a creator, business owner, entrepreneur, or just a social media freak like me, hit that subscribe button because I post videos like this every single week. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of how the algorithm works, it's important to understand what it actually is. Now, something that led me to believe a sigh of relief is that the CEO of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, actually references the algorithm as a ranking system. Yes, he didn't call it the algorithm. I personally think a ranking system just sounds so much more digestible. What the ranking system or algorithm actually does is it decides on what content to exactly show you when you click onto the Instagram app. And that decision is based on your interests and your engagement history on the app. And there's not just one algorithm for the whole app. Instagram Stories has its own ranking system, Reels has its own ranking system, your feed has its own ranking system, and so does the Explore page. And the main goal of this ranking system is to make users stay on the app longer. And it does that by delivering each user content that they actually would find interesting and relevant, which also means that the algorithm will be different for every single person, because obviously different people like seeing different things. We're not all the same. Our interests are different, our likes and dislikes are also different. I might like cat videos. I definitely know my dad would not like to see cat videos every single day. So obviously it's important that the algorithm works to give every single person a personalized experience on the platform and only show them what they want to see, which for you as a creator or a business is a great thing, because that means once you understand how to work around it, your content will only be pushed to people that actually want to see it. And all of that time and energy spent into making content for a specific audience will not be wasted. What I'm going to do now is go through each type of algorithm for each part of the app and explain how it works and how you can take advantage of that particular algorithm to grow on the platform. We're going to start with the top of your feed, which is your Instagram stories. If you're not interested in learning about the stories algorithm, then you can go ahead in my description below and use the timestamps to click onto the next part of the video. But I do advise you stick around because you never know what can benefit you, and there's a lot that can benefit you when it comes to Instagram stories. Instagram stories are a way to share your everyday moments with your audience, and you're only shown stories from people that you actually follow, and ads of course, but that doesn't count for today. According to Instagram, most people that view stories are generally looking for their family and their close friends. So when Instagram decides to put a story at the top of a user's feed, the ranking system will look at 3 different things to decide on who's to put first in line. Number 1, it will look at their viewing history. So how many times has this user viewed this person's story before? And the ones that they view the most will be prioritized by the algorithm. It will also look at engagement history. So how often has this user engaged with this account's stories? So how often have they liked it? How often do they react to their story? Do they ever reply to their story? And do they ever partake in the story features like the polls and and the ask me a question. Lastly, the algorithm will look at the overall relationship that the user has to that specific account and how connected they are to them. So do they have a lot of mutual followers, and how often does this user engage with the entire person's account in general? So what does all of this mean for you as the poster and creator? Firstly, if you're looking for growth, Instagram stories should not be your priority. However, if you want to stay relevant and connected to your current followers, then you do need to be using them. And I don't know anyone that doesn't want to stay connected to their current followers, so really you should be using them. I just want you to visualize this for me. Let's pretend you have a follower and your follower's name is Hannah and you run a cookie business on Instagram. Hannah has been following you for a couple months because your baking videos caught her attention, and in general Hannah likes cookies. But in general you post maybe 3 reels a week. Sometimes she sees them and sometimes she doesn't. But when she does see your videos, she double taps because Hannah is supportive. She might have a passing thought that maybe these cookies will be a good idea to buy for an upcoming birthday. Hannah will think of you when she sees you, but the content that you've provided to her so far is not really enough to turn Hannah into a diehard fan or a loyal customer of your brand. But then you start showing up consistently on your stories and start posting behind the scenes content of how you make the cookies and what your day looks like as a baker. Hannah gets curious when she sees all the hard work you put in to deliver people like her these beautiful cookies, and she starts to feel a little bit in awe of you. Then when you ask Hannah in a poll what flavor you should try next, or you ask for her opinion with a question sticker on your stories, Hannah starts to feel connected to you. She starts to feel like she's a part of your journey. So she starts to engage with you more, which means you're going to appear more now on her feed. And now because she's so engaged with your stories, she clicks every time she sees you've posted one. Instagram will now push the rest of your content out to Hannah, like your reels and your stories, because now they know Hannah really likes you and she shouldn't miss out on any more of your content. Do you get it now why Instagram stories are so important to stay engaged with your followers? Moving on to Instagram feed. Your Instagram feed is completely personalized and bespoke to you, where you see content from some accounts you follow, you see some ads, and then you also get recommended posts. Here's how the algorithm will decide what to recommend to a user. They'll look at the user's history, so the types of posts that this user has engaged with before, whether that be if they've liked certain posts, shared them, or saved them, or even commented. The algorithm will also look at how popular the post is. Is it receiving more engagement than usual? Is it getting more likes, more comments, or more shares? The algorithm will also look at information from the actual poster. So it's not just about that specific post, it's about the entire profile of the person that is posting that content. So is their content in general interesting for that specific user? How many people have been interacting with them recently? And who is interacting with them? And lastly, the Instagram algorithm will look at the format of that content. Is it a video? Is it a reel? Is it a carousel? And what does that user prefer to look at? So what does that mean for you, and how can you use this information to grow your account? You need to be using hashtags and keywords across all of your content. You should also be using keywords in your profile, your bio, and your Instagram handle, or even your username. This is going to allow Instagram to understand what your content is actually about. Otherwise, how will Instagram know who to push your content out to? It needs to correctly categorize your content, which is why it's so important for you to have a niche and talk about similar things across all of your content. Otherwise, the algorithm will just get confused and it won't know how to categorize your content. When your content is correctly categorized, Instagram will then match your content to accounts that have engaged with similar niches. If you want to learn how to use Instagram SEO and keywords properly, then I do have an entire video going into detail and explaining exactly how to do that on my channel. I'll leave a link to that video in the description below. I definitely recommend you go ahead and watch that after this video. Getting people to actually engage with your content will also rank your content higher on the algorithm. So adding call to actions like asking your audience to share their thoughts in the comments below, tag a friend, or double tap if they agree. And these are all call to actions that drive and encourage engagement. Content that is controversial also usually drives a lot of conversations in the comments, making it rank higher. So if you're feeling brave enough, get a bit controversial. I generally find that whenever I post content that is very opinionated, I get a lot of comments, some comments of people that strongly agree with me. And then I also get comments of people that strongly disagree with me. But it's fine, because all it means is that people that agree with me will start to feel closer to me and more connected to my content. And the ones that don't agree with me, I mean, they can agree to disagree or they can just unfollow me. It doesn't really matter. But the fact that they've commented is just going to mean that my content is pushed out to more people. By the way, I do have 42 call to action ideas that I'm giving away completely for free. It's part of my free social media starter kit. The kit also has a bunch of other resources like a trend spotting toolkit and ChatGPT prompts to help you plan your content. I'll share a link to this starter kit in my description below, so make sure you go ahead and download it. I guarantee that you will find something in there that will be beneficial and useful for your growth. When thinking about what format to post your content in, whether that be carousels, whether it be video or photos, really think about what your audience prefers. If you're sharing educational content to 35-year-olds, maybe they'll prefer carousels. And if you're sharing content about food, you probably want to go for photos and videos. That being said though, if you really want to focus on growth in 2024, you really want to prioritize video content, because that is without doubt going to get you the most reach on Instagram. And that's simply because Reels has its own tab on the home feed navigation bar, which just makes them more discoverable. Plus, short form video content is just very in right now, universally, on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, on Instagram, basically everywhere you go. Also, I want to share a little hack that you probably didn't know. If you see a post on your feed from an account that you don't follow, you can click the three dots at the top and then click why you're seeing this post, and Instagram will tell you exactly why they're recommending that specific piece of content to you. Moving on to the Instagram Reels algorithm. Instagram Reels are designed to help you discover new things, and Instagram Reels have a stronger emphasis on entertainment. The majority of what you see on Instagram Reels will be from accounts that you don't follow. The Reels algorithm actually has quite a similar process as the recommended content from people you don't follow on your Instagram feed, where it will first source Reels it thinks you might like and then order them based on how interesting it thinks they would be for you. Again, Instagram will do this by looking at things like the user's activities. So what kind of Reels have they previously liked, shared, or commented on? It will also look at information about the Reel, like the audio that was used or the visuals of the Reel, and of course keywords that have been used in the caption. And then it will also look at information about the poster, so their overall profile in general. The Reels algorithm also really prioritizes popularity signals, like the number of followers this account has and how much engagement they've received on their previous content. This helps the algorithm categorize what content is good and what content is not so good. This helps Instagram algorithm push out content that it already knows is going to be liked by its audience, because it's been gaining traction quite fast, rather than pushing out content from dead accounts that barely post and that don't really get much engagement. According to Instagram, if you want the algorithm to push out your Reels, here's what you need to do. Number one is create Reels that are entertaining and inspiring. Number two is to be experimental and use creative tools like the text, the filters, and the camera features. Number three is to avoid posting low quality Reels. Low quality means either they're too blurry, or it's content that's already been posted on Instagram before, or are visibly recycled from another app. For example, if it has the TikTok watermark on it. These types of Reels will be deprioritized, meaning they'll be less likely to appear across the app to people that don't follow you. For an additional boost, Instagram really does heavily recommend that you use keywords and hashtags that are relevant to that piece of content and your niche in general. Also, to include closed captions, because that just makes your content more accessible. The Explore page algorithm actually has a very similar process to Instagram Reels, in that it's designed to help users discover new things on the platform. The Explore grid is made up of recommendations of photos, carousels, and Reels, mostly from accounts that you're not already following. It also looks at all the same things that it would for Reels: the user's previous activity in the Explore page, the information about that specific post, and information about the whole profile of the person that's posted that content. It would also look at how popular that post is. The more popular a post is, the more likely it's going to appear in the explore feed. The algorithm will also consider the visuals of your post, so whether it's good quality or not, and of course your keywords that you use in your caption and hashtags. So to rank higher in explore, you need to be doing all the same things that you're doing with reels, however do it across photos and carousels as well. But one thing that does differ is that there will be more flexibility around creating educational content or content that is not really entertaining or inspiring. It's also very important that that piece of content is engaging, so adding a call to action so that people engage with that piece of content and it has a higher popularity score in the ranking system. I hope this video cleared up every misconception that you've had about the algorithm. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, you're a real one. Comment algorithm hack below so I can see and engage with you. I promise you I'm not just engaging for the sake of the YouTube algorithm. I genuinely want to conversate and understand my audience. And let me know what other topics you'd like me to cover on this channel. I'm a fairly new YouTuber, so I'm still trying to understand my audience and provide the best content that I possibly can. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on my content because I post every single week. And with that, I guess I'll see you next week.